appointment. Do you believe that?
Yes.
That you heard the call. Something within you stirred. Those in our viewing audience that have, allowed yourself to make that click on the internet or the World Wide Web or Facebook, that energetically that we are drawn to that which is for our highest good when we are founded in the spiritual principles. Our theme is about Christos wisdom. Our theme is about acknowledging that there is a power for good in the universe greater than we are, and that we can use it. Each and every one of us, we can use this energy. We choose to call it God. It's our higher power. Whatever name we put on it, whatever works for us to realize that which is within us is greater than that which resides in the world. So there is that within us that we connect to. We find each other no matter where we are in the universe. We find each other. And we do this energetically. We feel the vibe. We feel the resonation. There's a beautiful, beautiful little Christmas story about a little 3-year-old girl. And she'd taken a whole roll of gold paper and she had wrapped a gift. Now, her father was very upset about this. Times were kind of tight and he was worried about finances. And so he scolded her about, you don't use a whole roll of gold wrapping paper to wrap something. And so the next morning they were at the breakfast table and she came down the stairs and she put the little package with the whole roll of gold wrapping paper around it and said, "This is for you, Daddy." And he was just so touched and he was so moved. And when he opened it up, there was nothing in it. So he flared up again and said, "You do not take a whole roll of gold wrapping paper, wrap a box, and put nothing in it. If you're going to give a gift, you put something in it." She said, "Oh, I did, Daddy," and she teared up. She said, "I blew all my kisses in the box just for you, Daddy." Well, at that moment, you can imagine how he felt about this high. And he took her in his arms. He said, "Oh, thank you. Daddy will always treasure this gift. Thank you." And as the years went by, and at his last conscious breath, he kept that little gold box by his bedside. And his last conscious breath was, "Please hand me my little gold box so I can take a kiss with me as I leave." Each and every one of us has been given a gold box filled with energy, with light, with unconditional love, with the beauty of who and what we are reflecting back to us energetically. That we have been given this opportunity, this lifetime. Christos wisdom, comes from the ancient Greek. And Christos wisdom is universal love. It's seeing through the appearances, the conditions, and the effects of life. It's unconditional love. It's the Buddha nature. That when Buddha acknowledged that heart of compassion and that we move beyond suffering to the truth of our being in a transcendent way. The Holy I Am presence is acknowledging that we cast off anything that stands between us and our spiritual knowingness. That when we come into the world, we come in to learn, to grow, to expand, to be all that we can be. And along the way, we have some amazing lessons. One of my favorite books is The Gospel According to Peanuts. And I just love Lucy because she was sitting there and she was in one of her moods, one of her Lucy moods. And so Linus came up and he said, what's wrong, Lucy? She goes, "I'm just feeling down." He goes, "Well, life is a series of ups and downs, Lucy." She goes, "I don't want downs. I want ups and more ups and more ups after that. I want upper ups. I don't want downs." Linus walks away with his little blanket and says, "Good grief, good grief." But the truth is, life is a series of energies. that we're going to have high, fantastic moments. We're going to have lower energy moments. These are all part of the human condition. And as the humanness gives way to the divine, there's something else that takes hold. In ancient Judaic law, they talk about the shards of light in Kabbalah, that each and every one of us is a spark of the one light that penetrates the darkness and absorbs it. In 1798, there was a Hasidic rabbi, Rabbi Zalman, who was arrested. He was arrested for heresy and spreading his religious views in that day. And as he was sitting in prison, the warden sensed, I am in the presence of a holy man. And he went in to the cell and he said, I have a burning question that has haunted me always. And the old rabbi said, what is it? And he said, when Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden and they had sinned and hid themselves, that it states that God walked in the evening shade and said, Adam, Eve, where are you? Now, if God knows everything and is omniscient, omnipotent, all-knowing, why did God have to ask Adam and Eve, where are you? And the old rabbi said, yes. That question was not just for Adam and Eve, that are representative of humanity. It was for all generations to come. In our day, and think the 1798, he said, in our day, people are so shallow and they are so concerned with their little lives. And others are so concerned about earning money and making their impact on the world. This statement was for all generations, that wherever we are and whatever generation, that the voice of God within our hearts says, where are you? Where are you? So that we may answer clearly that we are in the heart of God. And if we are not, it gets our attention so that we can do something about it. It's to know and to be brought into consciousness where we are at any given moment. We know that archetypally that Adam and Eve represent all of the energies of the masculine and the feminine, beginning with those two archetypes. That energetically, that Divine Mother stands at my left side, Divine Father stands at my right side, and the Christ goes before me and prepares the way. We give birth to Christ consciousness, to Christos wisdom. And every time we give the benefit of the doubt, and we see it from a much higher level, we are coming from that place of Christ consciousness, the Buddha nature, the holy I am presence in the universe that says, cast off your shoes, for where you stand is holy ground. That there is nothing and no thing that comes between us in our spiritual knowingness. That each of us has been given this little gold box, and we feel the energy of love and light. And that every time that we need something, we can open that heart within us. We open the door within that leads to the soul. Ask and ye shall receive. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and the door shall be opened unto us. So when we are using Christos wisdom, it moves beyond color, race, creed, and sexual orientation, because we are all one. And we have no creed but love. Love one another as I have loved you. We have no doctrine but the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That it is this oneness and this opportunity that we have every single day of our lives. And yes, we want ups and ups and upper ups. But it can't always be that way, because how would we learn and grow? We need to go within. We need that time to go within to the secret place of the Most High. To pray to our Father, Mother, God in secret, and to know that we are acknowledged openly by the outward demonstrations of our lives. Jesus said, be of good cheer. Don't be in a flap. I have overcome. I have overcome the world of conditions, appearances, and effects. That this is a new day, and that we cannot get caught up in the appearance, which we have such a tendency to do, and give our power away to something outside of us. It was so interesting. My hairdresser was telling me a story about how his cash register wouldn't work. And it's programmed, it's computerized, it's, you know, all state of the art. It would not open, and it's supposed to give him all this information, and he wouldn't, and he said, I even prayed over it, and I blessed it. Then I called in experts, and I had to call, he said, I had to, you know, call this number, and a man from India answered. And so I'm telling him, it won't open. And he says, what I am telling you, you must press the, you know, whatever buttons. He goes, yes, I can't even really understand what you're saying. He goes, but what I am telling you is you must press this, that, and the other. He says, but I don't really even understand what you are saying. And then he said, and they were both getting, you know, in that place. And he said, you know what, you are a really good person, and you're on the other end of this line, and you know, there's a little bit of a language barrier, and there's also, you know, I don't know if you're in India now, but I can barely understand you. So why don't you spell for me? So he said, C-L-E-A-R. So he said, I'm writing it down. I go, clear. Oh, I pressed clear. Okay. And he said, I pressed clear, the whole thing opened, and all was well. And I went through this whole thing of a whole day of getting all, calling experts and doing this whole thing. And I said, oh, this is so metaphorical. I love stories like this, because as we clear ourselves of the stuff in the outer world of conditions, appearances, and effects, as we clear all of the negative stuff that we say. I saw someone on Facebook, she said, oh, I'm dying here. My nose is running, my eyes are running, my, you know, this, my that, the other. And I wrote back to her, said, the first thing I'm going to do is clear I am, using the I am, dying. I said, you are cleansing. So I put, now, erase that, put I am cleansing. Because what happens is the universe responds to I am cleansing. I'm clearing that which no longer serves me. At a DNA cellular level, every dis-ease that we experience has surfaced, has come up, so that we can release the toxins that we've gathered in our system, mentally and emotionally, that demonstrate physically, so that we can let that go. We all go through the human condition. We got to clear what no longer works. C-L-E-A-R. Clear. Okay, I got it. I press clear. I love the metaphor. And when stuff is going on in your life, just press that inner clear button and let it all return to its native nothingness from whence it came. Because the truth is, it is neither person, place, nor thing. Is it? Is it person, place? It looks like people, doesn't it? I mean, I saw this great bumper sticker. It said, Dear Karma, I have a whole list of people you missed. There is a cause and effect relationship. We don't need to do anything. And people that are running around being negative and spreading that around, it does eventually, the boomerang comes back to them. So we have to bless our planet, each other, and especially, you know, those in the energy field that kind of irritate us. We got to just bless them and say, what's the lesson here? And draw the larger circle to include whatever that is, or whatever reminiscent relative they remind us of, you know, mom or dad or whatever, and absolutely know the truth. And for our beautiful Wednesday Night Live, it's one of my favorite services. It's the Thanksgiving Eve service. It was so beautiful. And Mary brought her wonderful pumpkin pie made from scratch, and I even took some home and had it for breakfast the next day. It was wonderful. And I had purchased thermoses, you know, those silver, and you press it, and I had made hot cider for the event. And I bought 3 of them, and I had them in my cart, and I had them kind of stacked. And someone hit the cart, and one bounced out. And you could hear every single, in that thermos, you could hear it all break and shatter in all kinds of shards of light. And So she ran and got another one, and it was very sweet of her, and I apologized, shouldn't have maybe stacked them like that, and she was very, very gracious. And there was a little tiny gentleman, and he picked it up and put it on the counter and turned to me and said, "Well, don't break anything else." Now, he was not working there. He was a customer. And I said, "Oh, I'll just try my very best. Thank you for bringing that to my attention." Yes, thank you so much. And he all puffed up, and he was feeling really important. And, he really told me, right? And so, but there was a time when I would have said a few other things. But I have grown. I thought, girl, you have grown. You have evolved. Isn't it wonderful when we grow and we evolve and we don't have to use the same energy that's maybe directed at us? Because anyone that would say something like that is saying, "I need attention." I should have hugged him too, right? "Let me hug you." "Oh, yes, okay." But energetically, we know we've grown. We don't have to react. We can just respond and laugh at it. And when we laugh at it, it lifts and lightens the energy field so that we can be at who we are. Every morning, we set the tone. Reverend Mike and Julian and myself and whoever else is here, we set the tone for our service. And I always say, what do you want to receive from today's service out of giving your sacred service? And Julian wanted aliveness, and Michael said awareness, and I said outrageousness. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm leaving for Norway too. So I just said outrageousness, yes, divine outrageousness. And just to be in the world and not of it, to have our spiritual experience, to be able to laugh at ourselves, especially ourselves, and not take ourselves so seriously. Christos wisdom is realizing I of myself can do nothing. It is the Father, Mother, God within that does the work. I don't have to effort and push the river. I just need to be who I am. In those moments that I want ups, up, and upper ups, I realize that everything has its cycle and its season, so that I can go within and I can feel the energy of Christ consciousness moving through me in the energy field, moving out into the neighborhood, into the greater community, into the planet itself. So as we come together this morning to acknowledge that there is a power for good in the universe greater than we are using it every moment of our lives. Let's use it consciously as we go into this season of love, the season of Christos wisdom, of Hanukkah, where we light the lights and the energy, where we realize that when we hear the voice for God say, "Where are you?" Here am I, Lord. Here am I, Lord God of my being. I am right where you are. And that does make all the difference. God bless you. I love you. And what I know is that we are going what? Higher yet. Where are we going? Higher yet. Where? Higher yet. And that makes all the difference. God bless you, and I love you.